to warm up. Hello and welcome to Real Talk. I am your host, Paul Britton, and with me on a very special evening is Sergio Barrera. Sergio, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Paul. How about you?
I am awesome, totally awesome. I'm so excited to have you here as always, and extra excited because it's your least favorite thing to do, which is talk about MCU movies.
Yeah, it's I messaged you
Yes.
and all I got was "oh no," and I thought it was funny that that's where the conversation ended.
Well, you got to save it for the pod.
Exactly. That's the
Since
way
you
we
brought
do
it up, I'm going to go ahead and say the message, just to read it verbatim because
Yes.
it's I think the "oh no" response is warranted. And this is like sent May 1st, so this is on Friday or no, Thursday
Yeah. Stayed open.
at 10:14 p.m. So like I get the feeling within 5 minutes of leaving the theater, I'm so done with the MCU, no punctuation.
I had literally gotten in my car.
Okay. And that's cause for oh no. Especially for a movie that has been very well received, honestly, like
I agree.
extremely
It
well
has.
received.
Yeah.
Just to give an idea, where are you, Thunderbolts? I got to scroll down, don't I? Last I checked, it was at 98% on, or not 98, 89% on Rotten Tomatoes for the what are they called? Who are for the critic side, and like in the 90s on the fan side.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure how to take your statement, and I guess we're already talking about it. So let's go there. Explain your statement, because I'll be honest. There's 10% of me that was like, oh, I hope he just means he's annoyed because now he has to stay alive for 5 more years because you had originally said you're just staying alive until
Yeah.
Endgame, and then
And that was it.
you're
Yeah.
good to go. Uh,
So no, it's a valid question because you're right. And I'll be honest, in the time since I messaged you till now, I have been looking at people's reviews of the movie, and I am very much in the minority in terms of my feelings about this film.
okay.
And it was just, we've talked often about how everything in the phases since Endgame seem kind of disconnected, right? Or
100%.
or
100%.
it's a start and a stop, in that it's okay. It
Mhm.
looks like we're heading a direction, and then things happen, and we're not heading that direction.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it just feels disconnected. So if I just go along that theme, then this movie, I don't know what it's a precursor to or a result of. Now, here's where I have to do some other admissions.
Yeah.
I I am not overly familiar with some of the series that I believe this show is. I mean, this movie was working off of. Like,
Okay.
I know who Julie Louise Dreyfus' character is,
Mhm.
but I don't know what's happened with her prior to this film.
Okay.
And it seems like there's a lot of stuff like, hey, you probably should have known about things that happened in an insert show name here,
Yeah.
you know? Um, like, was Bob around before this movie?
No.
Okay.
Bob was brand new.
I know that these characters were, because I remember watching Black Widow and being disappointed. Um, and I know that obviously, Bucky is one of my favorite characters in the entirety of the MCU.
Okay.
MCU. But there's and I did see which is the one that had Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Uh but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there was stuff I didn't get or that I
Okay.
missed that led into this film somehow,
Okay.
particularly with Julie Louise Dreyfus' character.
Okay.
So that's the first thing that I'll take fault for. But outside of that, the thing that I think I struggle with the most with this film is that it just didn't seem as big as it wanted it to be because everything felt so muted. It felt so it was slow. Paul, I fell asleep
Oh no.
in the early portion of it. It just it was boring. I found it very boring.
Okay.
And I wish I could put a finger on why, but it just wasn't a compelling story that latched me in the way others have.
Okay.
And so,
So
yeah.
let's go ahead and do a quick recap. This movie is bringing together several characters from several movies and or series that have taken place over the past 5 years uh,
Mhm.
since uh, Endgame came out, but within the MCU timeline since about a year ish the since Endgame took place.
Okay.
And that's the start of the movie, and then anyway, and as you're mentioning that some of the characters were primarily television show characters, some of the characters were in some of the sequels that we've seen.
Mhm.
For example, Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp
Ant-Man, yeah. Yeah.
one, not the Quantumania one. And then as far as like television characters, you're talking about primarily like the Julie Louis-Dreyfus character, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine,
Yeah.
and
Wish.com Captain America.
right, and she's popped up in quite a bit, but also the John Walker character,
I
sort of
can
like
never
the
remember his name, yeah.
low rent, yeah. Captain USA. I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
And
Whatever.
don't get me wrong, I enjoyed his story
Right.
in Falcon and the Winter
Sure.
Soldier.
But it's
Maybe some of it is that it's some of that stuff is so far removed. Like
yeah,
it's been a while.
yeah, and it the part of what you're talking about is that felt so segmented because everything that's been put together in the past 5.5-6 years has
Mhm.
been so segmented that it's really hard to make connections.
Yeah.
There's been so many start and stops. There have been so many things that have just felt like their own thing.
Yeah.
Guardians 3, the Thor Love and Thunder, at this point, even a lot of the heavy multiverse stuff just feels like, okay, where's I understand that the payoff's going to be with the Fantastic Four, but there was a lot made of it,
Sure.
and with very little payoff. That here we are with these obviously minor characters,
Mhm.
it with Bucky, I mean,
Right. And that's the thing is because as the more time that has passed since I saw it, and the more that I have tried to be fair
Mhm.
in my assessment of it, it purely comes down to what is often the case when you and I are on different sides of a film, and that is it just wasn't my personal preference. Like
Sure.
there's value to the production, there's some interesting things done,
Right.
but one of the things I've noticed because and I'm going to say this to make my point, I have no interest in the Fantastic Four film, none.
Oh my
And
God.
part of the issue that I'm having is I'm no longer impressed by the special effects and all that because I don't feel like there hasn't been substantive stories
Mhm.
in quite a while.
And
And
I,
so
I'll be honest. I feel like this is a change in that. Like I feel like this movie was the first step in making something that felt like it's a step towards something bigger. But
okay.
and you didn't feel that way, and that's okay. Here's the thing is that this movie for me it was like, you know what, we're going to take a step back and we're going to do what the original Avengers movie did, back in 1902 or whatever it was,
Mhm.
the first Avengers film.
Sure, yeah.
We're going to do what the first Guardians movie did. and we're gonna bring together a whole bunch of people that have really no business being together, but are in a situation where they need to solve a problem, and they need to get to the end, and they have done that successfully twice before. And for me, and that's what this movie is all about, by the way. And
Okay.
for me, it worked. And for me, I was like, okay, yes, this really feels like, maybe not to the heights of those other two movies. Like Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the best movies ever, comic book or otherwise.
Yeah.
And that first Avengers movie, while not quite as good as Guardians in my mind, and definitely not as good as Endgame and Infinity War, was such a huge, event, and such a huge thing happening at the time. It was like, this is what my childhood, being a comic book fan, has been waiting for.
And this is part of what I think my whole feeling on it is I was spoiled by those films,
Yeah.
But here's you said something interesting that I think alludes to the fact that you feel like there was a substantive story here. What was it? Because for me, it was more about this character, Bob, and I don't even know that it's an alter ego, Sentry, the Void, right?
Yep.
I just felt like so much of this wasn't about the external. Like the threat there was a threat externally, but it was all about this sort of inner, I don't even know
turmoil, inner turmoil
of Bob, and it just became this whole take on, and don't get me wrong, mental health and self-care, all very important, but I couldn't tell what the movie was doing, and it began to feel very much like it was this sort of statement on what this inner turmoil within Bob can be like. It felt like it was becoming a statement film about we need to do what we can to take care of ourselves. Like,
but
I don't know.
I think I genuinely feel like that is what the movie was about. Like,
okay, and that's fair.
And by the way, same stakes is not same, but like similar stakes as Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And I'm going to say again, which is definitely a superior movie to this, but it's, in Guardians of the Galaxy, really, what are we doing? Well, there's this one crazy guy that they have to beat, but ultimately, the movie's about building the team together. The first Avengers movie has a much better villain, obviously, with Loki.
Sure.
But than either of these two movies. But also spends a lot of time dealing with building the team together, where Guardians of the Galaxy spending the time building the team together, but also everybody kind of dealing with the can people who feel like they've never really accomplished anything big get together, whereas this was, can people who have always felt like they are in solitude, like, but not just the, oh, what are you talking about, you have like, no, literally, they don't have friends, they don't have connections,
right?
They've
all been through something massive in their own lives,
and have forced solitude. I mean, this movie's 100% an allegory for how do people who disassociated during the pandemic reconnect.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's what the movie's about. And except in this case, it's how do people who disassociated as a result of the the snap and having powers that force them to the blip, I believe it's called. So the blip, people who have these, not powers, because really none of them, well, some of them have powers, but like who have these very special tasks, or not tasks, but skills and whatnot, that force them into solitude. How do they connect? Like, how do you take that solitude that can be, that everybody felt during the pandemic, and and that these characters still feel, 5 years removed from the pandemic, 1 year removed from the end of the blip. How do you take that and how do you reconnect? And that's what the movie's about. Like, literally, it's a how do people reconnect movie with, a sort of like systematic bad person who is, clearly has her own agendas and is an obvious ends justifies the means, power broker
Right.
within the MCU, as the central bad person, but really who they're fighting is their own selves. Like,
Yeah.
and,
Like,
and it totally works for me, and I loved it. Like
no,
that's
and
just where
sure. And no, and I'm glad it did for you. I'm
yeah,
glad it did because there were elements of the film that I thought, again, I felt very disconnected from. Like, okay, there's something going on here. I don't know. I loved the notion in the very beginning of the film where it was about, okay, she's gotten herself into a pickle because of what she's done, meaning the character that Julie Dreyfus plays.
right,
I loved that whole aspect of the first third of the film, which was her trying to hide things, right?
right,
I loved the whole entire sequence within the incinerator
yes,
because I thought I I could literally this could be the movie, you know.
yeah,
I was thinking that literally as I was kind of thinking about it after I was going home, and then I saw another individual's review who said the same thing, so I felt kind of justified, like that could have been the film, you know. The whole how do we get out of here? How do we deal with this? You know, so that the longer it went on, the more I started to lose the thread of okay, so what is the point? Like, what are I was looking for something bigger than what it became,
hmm
because that's what I'm used to with the films in
yeah,
the MCU that I've enjoyed. So yeah, we came at it from a very different perspective, and I think you latched on to what the intent of the film was. But
hmm
I had so many not loose ends, but factors that I wasn't aware of.
yeah,
That this was not a film that I think anybody who was disconnected from some of had I not seen Falcon and Winter Soldier, had I not seen Ant-Man and with the Wasp, I would have been lost
sure,
completely, you know?
sure,
And so
no,
I
for
think that's
sure,
part of and maybe, compliment the fact that they took a risk. They did this film believing that those who would love it are the ones who've kept up.
yeah.
And, you know, maybe it's my fault.
It did okay. It did pretty good at the box office too, but not great. Like, let's not, you know, eh, globally it did better than the Captain America
Did it?
movie. Yeah,
Oh,
globally,
wow.
but not domestic.
Interesting.
So yeah, so it did worse domestic. So domestic, Captain America opened at 88 and this opened at 74.
Did
So
Captain America hold after that?
no, not at all.
Okay. I was
Not at all.
okay.
It had a really significant drop. And by the way, I want to give, another shout out to Sinners. A
I
20%
need to
drop
see
on
that.
week 3. Are you frigging kidding me? Look, nothing's coming out next week, Sergio. Go see Sinners. And if you want
I
if
will have
you
time this weekend.
if you love it, and even though it's 3 weeks later and I've already done an episode on it, if you want to come and gush about it, I will you're more than welcome to come and
I will
gush
take
about
you
it.
up on that because I
All right.
really that is a film I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah.
So
Um so here, I the, one of my we've already hit on sort of one of the problems we've had in most of phase 4 and phase 5, phase 5 of the MCU is that everything feels very self-contained, and nothing feels like it's leading to something big picture. And
right,
even the stuff that you get the sense is trying to lead to something big picture, it just still feels disconnected, a la the most of the alternate universe stuff that's going on in Multiverse of Madness and Quantum Mania. um and it's because there's no clear, other than this is how they're going to bring in the Fantastic Four, this is how they're going to bring in X-Men. there's no clear way how they bring that in. There's no clear way on a clear vision on what those are going to be, what role those are going to play.
Yeah.
Again, it's the lack of the MacGuffin. And we last time we had this conversation, this is exactly what I said was, it was really, really easy with the Infinity Saga because
Right.
you had a gauntlet with 6 stones. Simple. Like, okay, we're going out, we're looking for stones, we're protecting stones, we're hiding stones, we're keeping stones away. It's, that's really easy.
Yeah.
We don't have that this time. There
Right.
isn't a MacGuffin. The multiverse is not a MacGuffin. It is a concept. This movie does absolutely nothing to present a MacGuffin, but what it does do is it starts to build a team, and
Okay.
it starts to build, for when Avengers came out, we didn't understand the idea of the MacGuffin, like that was not something that we understood until the very, very, very end when, of that movie, when Thanos says, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, that's what's going on. Okay, these are Infinity Stones. I get it. Okay, and that really kicked off the MacGuffin-a-thon.
Sure.
Even
Sure.
though a couple of the stones had already been introduced, we didn't realize that.
We didn't know what they were. Yeah.
Right now, I look at this movie as while not having the obvious MacGuffin, at least having the okay, pause for 1 second on the not having the obvious MacGuffin, because actually it kind of does, but it doesn't push it in it doesn't push it in an obvious direction, but at least to me it felt like it did push. It did give it's like it established a group that was that has David Harbour in it, which is
Mhm.
automatically endearing and awesome, and Bucky, who we all know and love already, and then these additional characters, one of whom happens to be Bill Pullman's kid, which, yes, please, like, the president from, Independence Day. Yeah. Okay. You can have his kid as a superhero here. Doing Bill Pullman faces, which is just, uh, and then it has the stinger at the end, and are you still even are you still not even remotely interested in the Fantastic Four even after the stinger at the end of this one?
I'm really not. I mean, and I think it's because it's so cartoony, and I get it. It's based on a comic.
It's it's based on a comic. It's an alternate universe, and
yeah.
on an alternate timeline, and
All the things that I've been over
yeah.
for so long.
Okay.
I mean, and here's the thing. I say that knowing that this week they literally began producing, what is it, Avengers
Doomsday.
Doomsday,
Yeah.
which I thought the announcement of the 27 character, cast was crazy, but I know I'll be curious about that, but why? Because it has some of my favorites from,
Right.
The first 22 films. And so that's the thing, is I'm going to have to watch it at some point,
You'll go to Fantastic Four in theaters, right?
I don't know. I mean, right now I'm saying that
Kramer's not going to drag you?
I no, I've already told him I don't want to go. That's the thing. I've already, committed.
No, Sergio, you got to go. Like, come on, man.
I'll think on it.
No. Go. And then come here and tell me, you know what, Paul, this was the last one. Because if this doesn't pull you in, you're done. Like, if Fantastic Four doesn't work for you, then they're never going to work for you ever again, and you just need to tap out.
Yeah.
But if Fantastic Four does work on you, because it's going to be the one that has to work on you. Like,
Well, I'll tell you what, because you are very important in my life. Then
thank you.
okay, I will make it a point to go, and we will
Please, thank
talk
you.
about it. Because what you just described is what Thunderbolts did to me. It was literally like, I'm done. I have no interest anymore.
Right.
And so, but if you're saying that there's a potential,
There's a potential.
despite the cartoony nature of this
yes.
movie, and it
Yes.
just the trailer did nothing for me. But for the sake of film and discussion,
Yes.
I'm
Excellent.
going to agree with you that I'll do that. So,
I mean,
Nick will be pleased.
Galactus in it. It's got Galactus.
I don't know anything about Galactus. Like, I
oh
have
my
no
goodness,
connection.
Kramer needs to do his job and get you.
I'll let him
learned
know.
up.
I'll let him know.
Yeah.
Although I will say, on a completely different note, I have my ticket already for the second part of Dead Reckoning. So
yeah, yeah, I do too. I got IMAX. I'm seeing it.
Oh, sweet.
Sunday evening. So
sorry, I don't want to take us off the main topic.
No, it's fine. That's
hey, look, that's the kind of stuff that has me excited right now.
Unless you hop in, unless you declare that you do need to come in and talk about Sinners next week. That's the next time we'll see you. So
that's true.
You know, and yeah. So
I'm gonna do my best.
Yeah. No, whether or not you come on for Sinners, I don't like. Like I said, I've already done the episode, but it's not my favorite, but it's definitely the best movie of the year so far. Like I'd still call Black Bag my favorite, but like, that's just movie is more my.
Was it because it surprised you?
What's that, Black Bag?
No, I'm talking about Sinners. You're talking about Sinners, right?
Yeah. Sinners is the best movie of the year. Like,
did it catch you up? Oh, okay, got it.
So far, it's absolutely 100% the best movie of the year.
Okay,
but this is like last year where Nickel Boys was the best movie of the year, but my favorite was a tie between Flow and Wild Robot, where but look, Nickel Boys just blew my mind and was just an absolutely cinematic treat. And I don't know if I will ever be able to watch that movie again.
I feel so guilty that you just named 3 movies that you're so excited about. I have not seen a single one. That's how far removed I am from the cinema experience. So.
Flow is on Max.
Oh no, we did. Okay, Flow. Yes. Yeah. Okay, I saw that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was on TV. So
right. Okay. But anywho's, cool. So here at Real to Real Talk, we do taco ratings instead of stars. And if we feel like something deserves a little extra, instead of doing half a taco, we add guac. Why? Because nobody needs to have a fucking taco. So Sergio, on a scale of 1 taco to 5 tacos plus guac, where does Thunderbolts land for you?
Okay, so I was originally going to say 2.
Okay.
All right. But because I can't fault the overall film for my shortcomings in terms of, because I really do. Like I said, it took me a while to get to this point in the days after, but I was disconnected because I wasn't 100% familiar with every aspect that fed into this movie. So I can't take points away from its production because MCU knows what it's doing, right? There was a lot of talent. David Harbour gets a taco just for being, David Harbour.
Right.
So this is a solid for me 3. I can't give it below 3.
Okay.
I can't because that would be unfair to the film. So this is 3 tacos for me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I am going. And it's funny because last week I reviewed a movie where it's Havoc. This is Sergio. This is a movie that's streaming on Netflix.
Okay.
And I would love to hear your thoughts.
Havoc,
because I was torn between. Is
that Tom Hardy?
2 plus guac. Yeah, I was torn between 2 plus guac or 3 tacos on Havoc because it's not a good movie. Like I'm just flat out telling you, it's not a good movie, but it is absolutely semi-entertaining to watch. Like there is a 20-minute action sequence that's just like, yeah, I'll watch that 20-minute.
Oh, we've enjoyed plenty of those.
Yeah, but the movie is so dumb and so bad. Like,
is it Roadhouse bad with Conor McGregor?
Oh my god. Yeah, it's worse than Roadhouse, I would say. Like,
nice. Now I have to watch it for
sure. But here's the thing: this is the opposite because this movie I genuinely liked, and I'm, This is a 4 taco movie, whereas Havoc was probably a 2 taco movie, and I was just like, I want to add a little something extra. But if I felt like if I added guac, that's like I actually like guacamole, and I didn't like this movie, but I could add a third taco, but just say these are the worst tacos I've ever had. This is a 4 taco movie, okay?
Okay.
And I don't know if I want to say it's a 4 taco move. It's I'm giving it 4 tacos, and they're literally just for me in my mind the very definition of what a taco should be. Or if I should do 4 tacos plus guac and just be like, hey, look, they're 4 pretty good tacos and the guac is not that great. But just because I love guacamole and I'm going to go ahead and get the guacamole. It's like
Yeah.
just because I love the MCU, am I going to add the extra? And I don't. Because you bumped up, I'm going to go ahead and bump. I'm just going to say this is a perfect 4 taco movie.
That's
Like
fair.
this is just for me, textbook 4 tacos. I loved it. I will absolutely watch it again because I sometimes just pop in like a string of 2 or 3 MCU movies to watch again. And when will I watch it again? I'll watch it again when I have the 2 movies after it, because odds are pretty good I'm not going to be super excited. Like I'm not going to be like, oh, I need to watch Brave New World and this one after another, because they're not connected. Just there's just a massive disconnect. But I know that it's going to feel like it's connected to the next couple movies, and so as that foundation, it eventually this could get 4 tacos plus guac if the next 2 movies are just like, wow, this is a good string of the MCU's back, baby. And if the MCU's back, baby, it's because of Thunderbolts. Like that, and I do believe that. But that's what we got for you today. That's all we got, Sergio.
I love it.
Thanks.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Just curiously, where do you land on the Final Destination films?
Yeah, I've never seen a single one, and I'm not going to the thing because I have no frame of reference for them.
Okay, got it. And yeah, because I or the other day I was noticing that there's yet another one, and the first couple were entertaining, but it was after a while I was like, okay, this is just like Saw. It just went on and on. So
okay, so have you seen all the other ones then?
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Okay,
I've seen the first 2.
Okay,
I've seen the first 2, but
I
again,
might
it
have
was a
seen the
different time in
first
my
one.
life,
Is the first
so.
one the one where they were like on a roller coaster?
I believe so.
Or
that or a plane. They all run together after a while, at least the first 2. But I was always sort of fascinated by the concept. But again, the only reason I ask is because I know that in situations like this, where if it is something we've watched, we would either rewatch or want to discuss sort of in contrast. But if you've not seen them, then please don't.
I've not seen them. I wasn't planning on going to see the new one just because it's like I really genuinely have no frame of reference. Like, it's been forever since I saw the first one. I'm not remotely interested enough to do homework on it. Like that. Honestly, that's kind of where I am with this right now. Like my homework days are a little past me. Because and I think it's better because like I don't force myself to watch crap that I don't want to watch. So it's and I'm just not interested. So yeah,
makes sense. All right, cool. Thank you.
Yep. But yeah, Dead Reckoning. We're all about.
I'm looking forward to that.
Are you kidding me? That's gonna be
and the week after Karate Kid Legends.
No, I think it's the week before is. No, you're right. It is the week after. Yeah. I'm also torn on that one just because I did not see the Jackie Chan movie or movies. Right, there too. I don't know. I haven't seen those. So
the first trailer made me laugh, and I thought never. But now I'm like, oh, God, there's a nostalgia there.
You know what's so funny? The first time I saw the trailer, I was like, "This is so dumb." There's just 0% chance I'm going to go see this.
Same.
And then I saw the trailer before they had the trailer ahead of Thunderbolts, and I was laughing out loud, and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I might actually."
Yeah, that was literally where I'm at.
Because like this, at first it looked dumb. Now it looks dumb, entertaining, and
Yeah, there's a few weeks coming up that I think we're going to visit for a while if you're okay with it. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
All right, Sergio, wonderful to see you. Can you say close us off here?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, first of all, Paul. As always, when you invite me on, it's just an absolute great time. So thank
Yeah.
you. But with that, on behalf of Paul and I, we always remind you: don't forget, you're awesome, you're amazing, and the world's a better place because you are in it.
Bye, everybody.